This is going to be a video on my Who's Next collection. Now, Who's Next was released in 1971, and it was originally conceived as a project similar to Tommy, in that it was going to involve a movie, a double album, possibly even a live show or shows that featured into the storyline or the concept as a whole. Of course, Peter Townsend abandoned the project when he wasn't able to get across his vision for the album. And what we were left with is just an amazing, solid album, Who's Next? Any album that's bookended by Baba O'Riley and Won't Get Fooled Again, it's hard to argue with that as a total classic in every sense of the word. Even down to the program synthesizer intro, which was just so innovative for rock and roll at that time. You've got Bargain, which is just an excellent driving hard rocker. Loving for Keeping, which is just kind of a breezy, acoustic bass, great Roger Daltrey vocal on that. Another classic John Entwistle track with My Life. Song Is Over, a great way to end side one, and then Getting in Tune, just another classic rocker to start off side two. Going Mobile, another classic rock staple. And Behind Blue Eyes. I mean, there's just not a single weak track on this album at all. So I'm going to start by showing off the vinyl. This is the original Decca release. And there was no inner sleeve with lyrics or anything like that. And then the MCA label, and I don't know the history behind why it changed hands, but MCA took over the Who's catalog, I believe it was in the early to mid 70s. And this is the MCA release. You can tell because it's got MCA Records in the corner. Sorry, trying to avoid the glare there. That classic rainbow MCA Records label, which I associate more with Elton John, but the Who were also on MCA Records. So those are my vinyl records. And then the cassette, unfortunately, like many cassettes that were released back in the day, the track order is different. You have on side one, Baba O'Riley, Bargain, Getting in Tune, and The Song Is Over. And then on side two, you have the side starting off with Going Mobile, then Behind Blue Eyes, Loving for Keeping, My Wife, and Won't Get Fooled Again. So very disjointed the way that was. It's a little better to see it that way. Nothing on the inlay card at all. But I just hate how the way the cassettes they had no regard for the flow of an album or how the album was supposed to be sequenced, especially a classic album like this one. You think there would have been more thought and care put into it, but there wasn't. The first CD issue by MCA just has this close-up of Roger Daltrey on the back. And unlike most MCA CDs, I will give them credit. There's actually more on the little insert here than you would normally find on MCA releases. There's actually the back cover photograph is right here. There's a track listing, and then for some reason they decided to crop the cover photograph and put that on the inside here. And then also there are, sorry about that glare, I don't know what to do about that, but there's basically, you can see it better here, credits, who played what, the photography, just the general album credits that were found on the back cover of the original vinyl. And then the Who went through a remastering campaign in the 90s. This is the remastered version of Who's Next. They kept the original photograph from the back, so it looks pretty similar to what the vinyl album looked like. And there are some bonus tracks on here that were from the Lifehouse project. got Pure and Easy, Baby Don't You Do It, Naked Eye, Water, Too Much of Anything, I Don't Even Know Myself, and then there's an alternate version of Behind Blue Eyes. This is what the CD itself looked like. And then the booklet tells a little bit of the story of the Lifehouse project. So some pretty extensive notes here and photographs. And then in the early 2000s, Who's Next got the deluxe CD edition. So this was a 2 CD set that was released. And you have the original bonus tracks that were on the original or the remastered Who's Next release. There's Baby Don't You Do It, Pure and Easy, Behind Blue Eyes, Won't Get Fooled Again. These were the New York record plant sessions. So the Who originally went to record the album at the record plant. They were not satisfied with the sound, and so they, I'm not sure where the studio that they eventually recorded at. I think they might have gone back to England. And then on side 2, there is a Young Vic concert, which was originally, I think, recorded for the purposes of including some of those tracks either on the Lifehouse soundtrack or as part of the film. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but and this is the back without the, there's a little slip case here that slides off. And the last thing that I have to show is, this was part of the classic album, we call it a documentary or whatever, but it's pretty much the story behind the recording of Who's Next. And there's interviews with Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend and John Entwistle on here. And it goes track by track through the recording. And if you've ever seen one of these for maybe another artist, it's very similar. Really worthwhile. I really enjoyed. Not only does it give the story behind Lifehouse, but just also, you know, talks about how the album was put together. And it's an enjoyable watch, especially if you are a Who fan or a fan of the album Who's Next. So that is my Who's Next video. I appreciate you watching. Hope everybody is doing safe and well, and take care.